reproducing photos via CMYK, printing process it. Like I love the process of it and sitting down and actually doing it. It's like almost like meditation, listen to a podcast and get stuck into a big image and just paint dots all day.
Welcome to another episode of Bench Talk. I'm your host, Tom Gerard. Today I'm catching up with a Melbourne-based artist named Tom Adair. This is Tom's second time on the podcast. He was on back in 2018, episode 114. He's put on some really great exhibitions across Melbourne and Sydney. And he's like the work he does is really interesting, the way he actually goes about manufacturing these artworks. He comes from a background in furniture design, and it really comes through in his artwork. And also the way he paints, he uses an airbrush and does like a half-tone CMYK print process, but paints the rosettes with his airbrush, and it's really interesting way of actually making work. I had a great time talking to Tom, and yeah, it was great to find out what he's been up to over the last couple of years. And he's currently got an exhibition on in Melbourne at Thought Forms Gallery. It's the exhibition is called Imagine Cowboys, and check it out. It's in Richmond. And as always, this episode is brought to you by the Art Career Academy, the online school for the emerging artists. The enrollments are now open for the live program that starts September 1st. Find out more, go to artcareeracademy.com, and let's get into the interview. Episode 203, Tom Adair. Great to have you here, Tom.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, I was thinking this morning before I jumped on when I was walking Arkley to school how long ago it was, and I thought it was about 7 years ago, so spot on.
I know. Wow, you've done so much in that time as well. It's been great.
Yeah, I feel like I've definitely done a lot as an artist, but also grown a lot as an artist, so
yeah,
probably a lot to fill you in on.
Yeah, mate, I feel the same. So back then, like we were sharing a studio together like years ago, and but now we've both had multiple studios since then. But you're currently set up in Richmond, in Melbourne.
Yeah, so I bumped around to another shared studio over in West Melbourne, then moved to Cremorne. Got my own studio there for a couple of years, 3 years maybe, and then moved to like far end of Bridge Road up near Hawthorn, and got a pretty cool little bunker space down here with rear access, and just recently set up a gallery sort of adjoining the studio space. So pretty comfy here and enjoying it.
Yeah, it's a great space you got. Great location too. So you'd much prefer to be on your own, doing your own thing, than in like say a communal space or community area?
So I got sick of people stealing my pencils and rulers and pens and everything, and spending time trying to find them. And then I don't know, just I outgrew the spaces and needed more room. A lot of the pieces I paint, probably same as you, like they get pretty big, and when you're painting for a show or whatever, you take up all the room, and you need space to put them and lay them out and pack them. And yeah, it just turned out the scale of the shows I was doing, it was a lot more conducive to having my own space, and I like the peace and quiet and being able to listen to my own music and big podcasts and all that sort of stuff. So it's good.
Yeah. I'm the same. A big thing for me is being able to crank the tunes. Like, I don't know, I find that music really creates a vibe to create to.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I've worked in design agencies for years with the headphones in, 8 hours a day, and I don't know, I love having the music up loud.
Yeah, no, it's definitely good.
Bit of a boogie and paint.
Yeah.
Get the vibes going. So for those who aren't that familiar with your artwork, or you, because it has been a while between interviews on here, do you want to just fill them in on where you're from and like how art entered your life?
Yeah, sure. So I'm from Melbourne. I never really trained to be an artist full time. It was something I fell into. I studied fashion at RMIT when I left school in 2001, had like 2-year break, and then went to go and study fashion. Then had a fashion label for a while, did that for about 5 years, and then fell into that went bankrupt because of a bad business deal over in Scandinavia, which was unfortunate, but also I guess a blessing. Learned a lot from that process. I mean, every career that I've had since then, as informed my art practice in some way. Um, so went from the fashion label to like a home textile brand, and then from that, I was there for 7 years. Went to a furniture brand called Jardin. Worked in the design office doing homewares and product development, and then I think I was there for about 4.5, 5 years. And towards the tail end of that, I started to do a little bit more work in the studio that we shared, and always wanted to sort of develop my practice with an airbrush, but was always too scared to do it. So I finally pulled the pin and went and did an airbrush course and learned how to do that. And there was a group show. I think it was, I don't know, 48 hours until the submission date or submission was due. And there was some like dots reflecting off I can't remember what it was. It might have been off a CD or something, a mirror onto a canvas. And I thought, oh, I could probably paint those dots with an airbrush because it was like part of an image. And I thought, oh, that could be pretty interesting. And that's sort of how the halftone application came around with the airbrush. And yeah, so started selling quite a bit of work with those first pieces that were a single color airbrush with neon overlaid. Obviously developed that with Mike, who used to be under the old studio, and he helped me create the substrates that I'd sort of mount them onto and the framing and do all that sort of stuff. So really refined the work into something that was quite saleable. And then went and I didn't have a gallery or anything. I didn't know anything about the art industry. I wanted to sell artwork. So I went and had a show at like an interior and architecture design fair and rented a booth in the gallery section for artists. Ended up winning an award for that show. I think it was judged by the head curator or someone from the NGV, which was pretty cool. And then got offered my first show at Metro off the back of that. And I think that was in 2018. And when I'd done that show, it sold out basically before the show had opened. And I thought, shit, like this is selling really well. If I'm ever going to give this a go, like it may as well be now. So handed in my resignation to work and took the leap, and I jumped in and went full time on art.
Awesome. Are you do you feel that you could ever go back to the workforce?
Nah, I don't think so.
Me either. I feel it'd be like a prison sentence where I'd be
Yeah,
like, all I'd be doing is trying to work out how to get back in the studio full time again.
yeah. No, I did. Like the last couple of years have been really slow for selling work. I don't know if you felt that as well, but it's been difficult with like that sort of bread and butter level of work, sort of between I don't know 5 and 12K paintings, and I've been doing a little bit of labouring, and before like I was doing 2 days a week just to get a bit of extra cash in the door, and I don't know. I thought like, am I ever going to go back and get another job? And I couldn't bring myself to do it. I just don't know what I'd actually want to do. I don't think I could go and sit in an office and work for someone else. So it was a pretty good motivator to turn a show around and make something of it. So
Mm. Is that your like main business, like making works and exhibiting? Is that like your
for the
art
art,
business? Yeah.
I think it has been. Um, that's how it's worked. I mean, I did shows, and then I was doing a lot of commissions in between shows, and that sort of kept me going. And then after COVID, it all sort of died off, and there's not so many commissions coming in like regularly. The commissions are probably bigger and like fewer over the year. So yeah, I mean that's sort of the rhythm I'm in at the moment. I'm trying to reassess that at the moment, whether or not that's actually a good rhythm. Like I've just had this show and I love the work. It's the best work. Personally, I think it's the best work I've ever done. But just trying to like work out the workload, and like you take so much time off producing work outside of a show that you put so much time and effort into making sure it's going to sell. And if it doesn't sell, then you kind of wasted 6 to 9 months worth of painting. And I'm just wondering whether or not it's better to have more of a rolling new work just being displayed. Like I've got the new gallery space next to the studio. I'm wondering whether or not it might be better to have like a regular rotation of new work coming through, and having like, rather than having one big series where you put everything into it. So just trying to do something new more regularly rather than one big show every 12 to 18 months.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a really exciting time that we're living in, like to be able to come up with new business models, like as
Yeah,
an artist. Like traditionally speaking, it's been, run by the galleries
yeah,
in the past. But now, like, since the birth of the internet, social media, smartphones, now AI, everything else, there's there's just new ways of doing business that are popping up. And I look forward to seeing what that looks like for the art world as well. Because
yeah.
I
Just
know for me, like I don't do I do exhibitions, but I'll have a big solo show once every 2 years, and or I try to have one once a year, but it has been 2 years since my last one. And but I've done lots of group shows in between and international bits and pieces, and lots of projects. But that's and they're all things that have sort of come outside of the gallery system for me.
yeah, yeah. I think the like internet and social media and email, like it's definitely empowered the artist to do more of their own work, and I think there's definitely a place for galleries. I say that on so many different levels. Like there's artists that can't sell their own work, like they're just not good salespeople. They're not confident to talk to people. Um, but then I think there's also like you get to a certain level and you do want a gallery to look after you. Like you might be selling. It's not a point where I'm at, but like I can see when you get to become a really big artist, you don't want to be dealing with like the mundane sales stuff. But I feel like that sort of middle ground territory, kind of like where you and I are, it might be, you know, somewhere between emerging and mid career artist. I feel like you can kind of look after yourself if you're capable of talking to people.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. I feel that galleries do fill um, like fulfill a area of an artist's career though as well.
Yeah.
Whereas because I know if I was to say just doing little pop ups and this and that, it's hard to show a whole series of work unless you've got a space like you do where you've got a beautiful gallery attached to it. But
Mm.
so it's really great to show a series in its entirety, but also I find when I look around at unrepresented artists, you can judge their, well, not judge, but you can look at their art and figure out how talented they are as an artist. But to really position them within the art world, it's hard to get a gauge of where they sit because, like, I think galleries help sort of provide that to an
Yeah,
artist.
they definitely give a level of credibility.
Mm.
Um, there's so many artists out in the world, and I think when you're hand selected by a gallery to be part of their stable of artists, it comes with like a stamp of approval from the art industry that this is a good artist. And while I appreciate it, I also resent that because I feel like people should be enjoying the art based on what they see, not what other people perceive or how they hold those artists in their ranking, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. Unfortunately, it's the world we're in,
It
or
is, yeah.
the reality we're in anyway.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I get what you mean, and maybe that's going to continue to change over the years because there's lots of people who've say built art careers off the back of social media or something like that with no gallery representation, and I guess their social credibility within the art world is their amount of followers or whatever, or the opportunities they're receiving.
Yeah.
But
I mean, caught up with an artist for a dinner, someone that's moved back from LA. He's an Australian artist and he'd been over there for maybe 10 years, I think. He had a killer career, but he left the gallery system and he's absolutely smashing it. And he's a really credible artist. And I was very interested to have a chat with him and sort of see how he did and how he maintained it. And I think being part of the gallery system for the last 8 years has sort of taught me a lot about it to understand it. I knew nothing when I first started, but it's kind of nice to have a bit of a peek behind the curtain and see what it's all about because it seems so elusive and mysterious and exclusive when you're not part of that gallery world. Um, but I feel like I've understood it. I see what's going on, and I'm pretty comfortable with sort of doing my own thing at the moment.
yeah, I know what you mean about going in there blind. There's no guidebook to
Yeah,
sort of read. You don't know if you're doing the right thing or if you're upsetting them or like, hey, you should be showing up. And yeah, it is a bit daunting in the beginning, isn't it?
Yeah, and then there's like the whole thing with contracts and like what
Yeah.
territories you're allowed to sell in, and um, as it's funny, it's like as an early artist, there's no one that really teaches you this stuff. I'm also not art trained, so I haven't been to art school, but I don't know how much of this they actually teach. But when you enter that gallery relationship and you get a contract of you just want to be with the gallery, like you'll do anything, you'll sign your life away, but you're kind of giving a lot of power to people with a lot of trust, and I don't know that trust can be broken pretty quickly and pretty easily from a lot of stories that I've heard.
Mm. Yeah, from both sides, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So, I guess getting back to your art now, as you mentioned before, you work with airbrush, and you've got a like you work with a halftone technique. Uh, like, are you these days? I've seen you do a lot of single colored halftone paintings, but now you're working a lot more in CMYK. Is that where you're at, and where you're continuing to move forward, doing like a CMYK printing reproduction, but all hand done with an airbrush?
yeah. That's predominantly where I'm at the moment. I guess I kind of mix that in with the recent series I've done is all flat panel, single plain work, painted on aluminium board. But I've been doing a few larger commissions that are sort of CNC routed, like the front, it'll be multi-layered, so it'll be almost like a diorama where the front panel will be painted, and then there's a background layer as well, and LED lighting and stuff to sort of bring it to life. So just sort of using other materials and techniques to sort of bring that to life as well is something I've been doing. But yeah, I don't know. It's like reproducing photos via CMYK printing process. Like I love the process of it and sitting down and actually doing it. It's like almost like meditation, listen to a podcast and get stuck into a big image and just paint dots all day. I do enjoy it, but there's other things I want to practice using in my practice as well. So I'll develop it. I'm not going to stay with the dots forever. And yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
just a signature thing.
Yeah, I know. I know. You mean you're definitely onto something with it, and like when you see your artwork, like me anyway, I know instantly that it's yours.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and also not just the technique, but also the materials you use. Like I noticed just from being around you over the years, um, that you've carried over a lot of skills from your like product design from working for Jardin, and your materials, and you sort of look outside the art shop, I guess,
Yeah.
and have a lot of things custom made, and you bring light in, like LED lighting, and multiple layers and aluminium panels, and all these sorts of things. It's really interesting. Like you create the I guess using the materials, you create a unique like product at the end, like before the paintings even started.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Like sometimes I think, oh, people are probably over these dots. Like I enjoy painting them, but I think maybe, done a few of them and people are like, oh, is that all he's got? But I don't know, like I can't think of anyone off the top of my head, but there's people that do really simple things throughout the design over the years that it's so repetitive and it just becomes like iconic to that person. Like you say it and you're like, oh, that's that artist or it's that designer. Um, I'm wondering if there's a point where the repetition is really empowering to your career. And you really own that technique or that design. So I still enjoy doing it. I'll still keep painting it regardless of whether or not I move on to different materials. I'll probably always come back to it at some point.
Mm. Yeah. Well, you got to follow your own passion, eh? Art's for you first.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Um, but like speaking of, I don't see you as just being the dots as well, because those out of focus, like blurry landscapes you were doing, like have you explored that a lot more?
I've actually got a couple of panels that I need to paint. They've been sitting over in the artboard rack, primed, ready to go for about 2 years. So I've got a large format one that I want to do because I've typically, I think the biggest one I've done is like a meter by a meter, and they just take forever.
Mm.
But
To get the clean fades and stuff.
not so much the fades. It's just the color mixing. Like I don't mind mixing the colors. That's fairly easy, but it's the like you know what it's like with an airbrush. You got to clean the thing out.
Yeah.
So
Well,
if
I
you
don't. I don't. I only use black.
true.
Yeah.
You know how annoying it is when you got to clean it out, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I just clean
Yeah,
at the end of the day.
imagine using 100 colors on a painting and having to
Oh,
like you just do
yeah.
like a little bit here, a little bit there, and then you got to change the color. Like
Yeah.
that's the hang up of it. But it has a really cool effect. Like they're very calming when you look at them. So
Mm.
that's something I want to do. And I've also been doing a lot of I have been doing commissions that I haven't been sharing on socials just because of confidentiality with clients. But there's a lot of like reflective, like mirrored pieces with the LED and the diorama, like CNC panels. They're really interesting. So I'm thinking about maybe doing a show of that sort of stuff as well.
Mm.
So yeah, I do love those calming blurry ones there.
Yeah. Yeah. So do I. Um. So because you're working with multiple layers and so much material, like, do you find that some of the pieces get really heavy?
So I go to the gym.
Yeah. But I mean for the walls, like, because there's a lot of plaster walls and stuff in houses now, and you know,
Yeah, they're probably more awkward than they are heavy.
mm,
Like they're definitely a lot heavier than a linen stretched over a canvas stretcher. Um, I don't know, like a large format painting might be like 12, 15 kilos. So they're very hangable.
yeah, totally, yeah.
Yeah.
You're not getting into the 65 kilo range.
Nah, not yet. I've definitely done some really like when they get to like 2.5 meters, they get pretty heavy. But
Mm,
again, they're more awkward than heavy.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's good. You've got lots of space, and you're all set up to work. You got a roller door at the back. You can get them in and out easily.
Yeah, it's perfect. That was definitely one of the criteria of picking a studio is making sure I had rear like roller access to bring stuff in and out.
Mm, yeah. So a couple of weeks ago, I was at your studio or your gallery for Thought Forms for your latest exhibition, like Imagine Cowboys.
Yeah.
Mate, great show. You said it was the best work you've ever done. I feel it was the best work you've ever done as well. It's really enjoyable to see, and yeah, great show. Do you want to tell us all a bit about that?
Yeah. Did you got stuck into a bit of the concept behind it when you were here?
Yeah, yeah, I read the what would you call that? A statement about artist statement?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's an essay or a statement.
Essay? Yeah.
AI thing, which was part of the leaning into it with the show. The the series came about from American artist Richard Prince, who did he called it rephotographing when he rephotographed the Marlboro advertisements and he photographed the cowboys and that sort of cigarette advertising that was going around in sort of the 70s and the 80s, and he did it mid 80s when he was working at a magazine. And he was filing all of the editorial and he was left over with all these magazines at the end of the day. And he would photograph the actual magazine pages themselves with his camera, but crop out the branding and like anything that was recognizable from the advertisement. And he'd end up with these cowboy photos and he was selling them for like at auction for over $1 million. I think he was the first one to sell a photograph for over $1 million, which when I heard that, that's sort of what piqued my interest and got me thinking down this path that how can someone take a photo of an existing image that someone else took where it feels like copyright, but then reclaim it as their own and sell it for such a high price? And like, why do people value that? And like, what's the value perception of that sort of artwork? So that's where it started. I painted a cowboy probably 18 months ago, which was a direct like copy from Richard Prince with the idea of contrasting his click of a camera and how quick that could be to reproduce something versus me painting his image dot by dot. And I think personally, time on this planet, because it's so scarce, I find that is something that's more valuable than an idea. So I was kind of putting my time versus his click of a camera against each other. And that was sort of the initial idea with perception of value. And I didn't want to paint a whole show of Richard Prince works. It was just kind of a one painting idea. Sat with it for like 6 months, and I've got it hanging at home, and I always wanted to just do more cowboys because I love the aesthetic of it. So I was going to do a cowboy series of Australian cowboy culture and go down to like it was the Myrtleford Golden Spurs rodeo on Boxing Day, and it turned out it was going to be a super hot day, and had a 2-year-old that was going to come with us, and I thought, God, it's a pretty long drive for a 2-year-old in a hot car, and he's going to get out and be grumpy, and it's just going to be a nightmare trying to photograph stuff. So pulled the pin on that. And then I was at the studio one day, and I still really was captivated by the Cowboys, and I thought, oh, I'll just put some of these Richard Prince things into AI and see what happens. And at that stage, I hadn't really played a lot with AI. Like I'd tried a few prompts in DALL-E and Midjourney, but they're always so clunky. I don't know. It was never anything I was like, oh, that would be a really cool artwork. So anyway, I did these cowboys and got ChatGPT to sort of prompt the image or describe it, and then create a prompt that I could then put into Midjourney, which I did, and I kept getting these images that would reproduce. They were pretty accurate, but they'd all have these like weird hallucinations where like the arm would be twisted or the body would be twisted or the horse would have an extra leg, or it was just like really odd. And I got so frustrated with it. I was like, why can't I just like make a cool images of a cowboy with a horse, just normal? And then after a while, it just clicked. I was like, oh, that's the series. That's the beauty of it. It's got a limitation, and that's sort of like we're going through this, like you said before, this very interesting time at the moment where we're transitioning almost from an analog world to this very digital heavy world. And I think capturing that transition and the limitation of the software as we transition was really interesting. So I sort of leaned into that, and that's how the series came about.
Mm, that's awesome. Yeah, I like how you're saying like the mistakes are the good bits, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
people discard it, and I mean, the easy choice would have been do that and then print them, but I
Mm.
think with my practice, I'm intervening in that mechanical process. Like I'm using a lot of technology to produce the image, but then instead of just giving that image to a machine to print, I become the machine and print it by hand. And I think that's what's really cool about my work. A lot of people see it on Instagram or computer, and they'll see it really sort of crunched down. It's like with the JPEG, the smaller it gets, the less pixelated it is and the clearer it becomes. It's like that. When you see my work on an Instagram feed, like always people are like, oh, is that a print? And it's like, oh, you try and explain to them like it's not, it's a 4-color process, and I've hand painted all the dots, and you sort of zoom in and show them, and they don't really get it. But I think doing that really changes the process, and I like being able to get up to it and sort of see the hand of the artist within the actual work and seeing the mistakes up close. And
Mm.
I think there's with my work, there's a lot of stuff like ideas around illusion and perception. So from a distance, you see the work and it's so perfect, but then you get up close to it and it sort of, you see all the imperfections of it. It was the same with the house paintings I did right at the start. It was based around like that perception of like the ideal family home, and you see from afar someone's got a BMW or a Porsche parked out the front, and they live in this giant house in Toorak, and they got nice clothes, and you're like, oh, that guy, they must live the best life, and it's all perfect. And you get up a little bit closer and you get to know the family, and maybe the car repayments are late, and the husband and the wife fight, and kids hate them, and there's all this imperfection. It's like there's so much stuff that we don't see, but we just perceive it as being perfect.
Mm.
So yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I like what you were saying before about how it's like you've had a job swap with the machines, like you let the
yeah,
machines come up with the imagery and then you reproduce them. It's usually the other way around.
yeah,
It's yeah, it's great. It's like you're doing the full 4-color printing process by hand, dot by
yeah,
dot. Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah.
had I produced a book for the show. It was a 130 page limited edition book, and I had the printer come and drop off the proof, and you know about rosettes.
Yeah.
And he walked in. He's like, "Oh, how did you get the rosettes on the paintings?" And I was like, "Oh, like I painted them by hand." He said, "There's no way." And he walked up to it, and because he knew printing and offset printing and everything, his mind was blown. He's like, "I can't believe you did that by hand." Like when you actually understand that technology and that process, it's cool to be able to say it.
Mm. I remember being a kid waiting at the tram stop with my dad and my brother, and my brother and I were just playing around, but there was a big billboard there, and we're getting up really close and going, "Oh, it's all just dots. It's all and it was all the rosettes of the CMYK."
Yeah,
And we go, "I can't believe it's just all these dots that make up this image." And you stand back and it's a big photo. And yeah, that was like my first interaction with that. And seeing your art really brings me back to that, you
right.
know.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's definitely it's a fascinating thing how it tricks your eye. The other thing that people don't, like, they just can't wrap their head around it until you actually show them. But I tell them that all the paintings in the show are made from the same four colors. And they're like, "What? How?" But it's like, it's the same as magazines and all the print media that we consume. It's all done with that CMYK process.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Can you tell us a bit more about thought forms and what you're doing over there?
Yeah, sure. So it sort of started at my last studio in Cremorne. I was getting kicked out, needed to get a new studio, and I thought, I've always wanted to do a group show in that studio space. It was like an old um, brick warehouse in Cremorne, and it was an old car mechanic, so it had like pretty cool industrial features, brick walls, and sprayed it all white. It was a pretty cool space. And then cleaned everything out, put on this massive show, which you had a piece in. I got that wrapped up in my special art storage, which is pretty cool, from our art swap, which I owe you a painting for. And it sort of started there, and I needed to give the space a name, so I called it Thought Forms, which is based on a book called Thought Forms that Howard Arkley had studied earlier in his career. And the idea of thought forms, not to get too far off tangent, but it's like art is just a thought, and it can be just a thought, and then when it comes into the world, it's like a thought form. So it's like it becomes an actual form of a thought. I thought that was a really cool name for a gallery, so I ran with that. And then had a group show. I think there was about 20 artists in it. And then when I moved over to the new studio, I had that spare room, which I had a gym in there during COVID, and then it turned into a bit of a storage room and didn't really use it for anything. And slowly just renovated it, painted the walls, plastered a couple of the walls, painted the floors, put some lighting in, and then had a group show, another one here, which is the first one. I think that was back in 2022. And that was called Subparallel. Had another 20 artists from had some from LA, some from Sydney, a lot from Melbourne, and then started showing a few friends that aren't represented by galleries. I kind of wanted the space. Like, I'm lucky that I've got a gallery that I could show in up in Sydney, and had one over in LA and Miami and Phoenix that were showing work. So I didn't really need to show a lot of work, but I really wanted to give friends that I thought deserved a space to show their work, that space and that opportunity. So had a few solo shows. I think I've had maybe 5 solo shows in there, and I'd always had in the back of my mind, like, maybe one day I might have my own show there, but it kind of felt a bit strange, like selling your own work in your own gallery. So I never really thought much of it. And yeah, I don't know, just kind of set it up. This last show was sort of, I really wanted to show the work how I wanted to show it, and the gallery that I was working with hadn't locked in a date for my next show, but I had a series ready to go, so I thought, I'll give it a go and sell my own work. And it's nice having a bit of separation through name, like rather than just like the Tom Adair gallery. It's like Thought Forms. It's not just for me. It's it's for friends, it's for other artists that, and I've got a bunch of other friends that want to show work here, and I'm happy to share the space. And it's not about making money; it's about sharing work that needs to get out into the world, I guess.
Mm. Yeah, it's great. It's great to have, I guess, full control over a space like that and be able to do what you want with it.
Yeah, definitely. You present the work how you want to present it, you hang it how you want to hang it, you paint as much as you want to paint. There's no financial pressure to have to sell a certain amount of work. It was a very enjoyable process. It's something I was pretty daunted about. One of my very good friends, who you might know, do you know Julius Killaby?
No, I don't think
He
so.
used to work at Metro back in the day.
Oh
That's
yeah,
what,
yeah, I know Julius. Yeah.
yeah. Um, he's managing a gallery over in London at the moment, and he saw me, I don't know, earlier this year, and I'd almost finished the series, and he's like, "You're crazy! Like, don't worry about trying to get this somewhere else. Like, you've got this amazing space in your own studio. Um, there's no other artists that are showing work in their own gallery that then people can walk through and actually see the studio where the work's made. Like, from what I understand, it's a pretty cool experience for a collector or someone interested in buying work to come and experience that whole thing together. Because with the gallery, you're often, as an artist, you're often cut off from the end client. And I feel like that connection and even just like a conversation where the buyer or the client can meet the artist and understand more about the work rather than hearing it secondhand from a gallerist. Like, gallerists are definitely good at telling that story, and I don't want to take that away from them, but there's something more personal about meeting the actual artist and having that as a story when you buy a work that I hold in pretty high regard. So yeah, I think it's a cool experience for people that want to buy work, and they can come down and see it and see where it's made, and it's had a really positive reaction. So
Mm. Yeah, it's great. It's great. That's like what we were talking about earlier about like different business models and things like that, and things that can open up, beyond just the standard, what's been done before,
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of which, like I was on your website yesterday and you've got a tab for the Collectors Club.
yeah,
Like, can you tell me about that?
yeah. It's just an idea that I haven't done anything about yet.
Okay.
No, it's yeah, I don't know. I think probably similar to what you're doing with Art Academy. It's
Uh,
like there's a lot of stuff that you learn that I feel like younger artists that are trying to get into the industry or collectors might want to know about. There's a lot of sort of mystery around the art world, and I don't think there necessarily needs to be that amount of mystery.
mm,
So I just want to share with people.
yeah. Yeah. I know I've been developing relationships with some of my collectors over the years. And it's interesting, like just finding out from them, like they come across your artwork, they purchase it because they like it and they want to decorate their house or whatever. And then, but over time, they've been getting into art. But it's been interesting. Like in my mind, I always thought, oh, they must already be into art because they came to me and bought a piece and all this type of stuff. But um, yeah, there is, I guess, a lot of people who are buying art aren't necessarily like clued up on the whole what's going on in the art world and all this. They're not immersed in it like we are, more or less. It's just
Nah,
like
definitely.
something on the side for them.
Yeah, there's so much. Like one of the big things that I didn't learn it till maybe 3, 4 years into being full time at art is like the secondary art market. You're like, what's that? It's like it's sales of your work that you have no control over, and if you don't like manage it and make sure it doesn't get out of hand in terms of having too much work available or whatever that can flood that market and then ruin your primary price. Like it's, and I think for people that are buying your work, they want to know that, or you want to educate them that it's also an investment. Like you don't want to be selling them something that's going to be devaluing because artwork is expensive. And if you can sort of prove to them or show them different ways to find out about an artist beyond just do you like it, do you not like it, is it going to hold value? Why is it valuable? Then I think that adds a lot of value to that conversation, that relationship that you create with clients.
Hmm. Yeah, it is a murky one, the secondary market. That's how
Yeah,
I was introduced to art, really, working at Christie's in
yeah,
London.
yeah, right.
Yeah, but I was seeing like, just sort of games that people were playing at that end, especially with like something so mass produced like Warhol's pieces. You get like he'd he'd produce like one print and do like 1,000 of them in different colors. But then you see their price all over the market was like yo-yoing.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it was pretty interesting seeing what there was a level of control happening around the collectors to try, like rebuying things and jacking prices up and just trying to make sure their investment stays valuable,
yeah. It's
making sure that
precisely.
everything's selling all the time, because if it's not selling, it goes down in value.
Yeah, there's
Mm.
I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard that there's an artist who started. He was a young Australian artist, and he was selling work for over 200K per piece, and then all his friends that he used to do these little $500 bangers for realized that he was selling heaps of expensive artwork, so they started like trying to put all these small artworks into auctions, and it just tanked his primary market
Mm.
because there was
Yeah,
so few of them out in the world.
I know. I was on there the other day just having a look at what's being sold, because I've there's that app, I think Invaluable or something like that.
Yeah,
Um, and you can look at your history, and I was
yeah,
blown away at like some of the works of mine that have gone out there. It's like just things that I know that I've done, like, yeah, just done a little jam at the studio with another artist or whatever, and then it's like, hang on, that's on the secondary market being resold, and like that was meant to be like a gift,
yeah. That's it.
things like that.
Well,
I
like
saw
personally,
one,
hey,
yeah, saw one that my auntie had put up there for on the secondary market, and that
really,
it's like, yeah,
shame. Like,
it's like, come
I was
on.
thinking about getting a sticker or some sort of stencil that I could spray onto the back of all my artwork saying this is not allowed to be resold in the secondary market, unauthorized
Mm.
sale. I don't know, but
You can't
it's
manage it
still,
though, like,
yeah,
because you
it
don't own that art anymore. They do. You just
totally,
created it. You
yeah.
know.
It's and that, like, again, it's one of those things that you don't really know about until you get into the industry and you
Mm.
get a little bit further down the track and it starts being important.
Yeah, I think when you get to a certain level, it can be very sensitive uh,
Yeah,
place, and that's why they have people, you know, coming in and protecting artists' careers, really,
yeah.
making sure everything sells, and you know.
I had one that I painted for a friend, would have been back in probably 2010, like a long time ago, and it popped up on a auction house the other day. It was on Invaluable. I can't remember who sold what auction house it was, but it sold for like $1,000, and I was like, oh, that I can't believe. I don't even know if I signed it, but it had my name on it, and yeah, it's a shame, but people wouldn't even know it was my work. Didn't look
Mm.
anything like it.
Hi there, it's Claire here from the Art Career Academy. Now, if you're an artist looking to go all in with your art career this year, then we wanted to let you know that our enrolments are now officially open for the next live round of Going Pro. This is our online signature program for emerging artists to grow their abundant art careers. So if you've been grappling with frustration or feeling lost in the maze of building your art career, then we've got the proven roadmap to guide you. This is the 5th time that we have run this program live, and we can't wait to get started with a new group. So if this sounds like you, then jump in soon, as this opportunity is only available for a limited time, and we won't run the live program again until 2026. And if you're a fast action taker, then you'll get the early bird pricing, which finishes on Tuesday, August 26th. And pocket over $100 in savings. We can't wait to support you to bring your artistic dreams into reality this year. Just head to artcareeracademy.com to find out all the details and book in your spot.
All right, Tom, are you ready for some rapid fire questions?
I am ready for some rapid fire questions.
All righty, let's go. What's one medium you'd love to work with?
Probably I've always wanted to do printmaking, but with the 4-color process, so like lithography or something like that. I'd love to do some bronze casting. That would be pretty cool. And probably like a video work would be fun to jump into.
Yeah, all fun mediums. So much to explore.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the first piece of art you ever sold?
First piece of art was to like serious piece of art. Was to my parents' friends, and it was like a big mirror multimedia piece with like neon and plastic fabrication sort of stuck to the face of it. And it was about 2.5 by 1 meter.
Do they still have it?
They've still got it. Yeah, they send me photos fairly regularly every year
Yeah.
or so.
What do you think of it these days?
It's definitely not something I would recreate now, but it's pretty cool. It's almost like sculpture in a way, sculpture multimedia. So very different to my work. It didn't have any painted elements or anything on it.
Mm. Yeah, I see certain things that of mine that have been out there for a few years and with family friends or whatever. And it's like, oh, give it back here. Let me swap you out something.
Yeah.
Get that one. I want that one popping up on the secondary market.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What's one skill you wish you had?
Do less and say no.
Mm. Yeah.
So I'm just too excited to do all of the good stuff. If it's an exciting project, I'm the first one to put my hand up and jump straight into it. So probably need to chill a little bit more and give back a little bit more time to the family.
Mm. Yeah, it's hard to pick them sometimes, though, isn't it? Like which one's going to be the good ones and versus the bad ones.
Oh, yeah, I find that I don't really have bad ones. It's just I just want to do lots of stuff, and I never have enough time to do all of it. And I always am optimistic that I do.
Yeah, yeah, I know the feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. What advice would you give your younger self?
Probably follow your intuition closely because it's usually right. And yeah, have kids as young as you can.
Yeah. But how old are your kids now?
We've only got one. He's 3.5, but we've got
okay.
another coming pretty soon. So
yeah. One's minus a few months, eh?
A couple of weeks. Yeah.
Couple of weeks. Wow.
Yeah, it's very close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Life's about to change again.
Correct.
Yeah. Do you keep regular work hours?
Yeah, because of daycare. Like, I'll drop Arkley at school usually, or daycare at 8:30. Get to the studio by 9:30, and then if I'm doing pickup, which is pretty regularly, I'll try and get out of the studio by 5 and pick him up by 5:30. So it's good. I mean, it forces you to work when you need to work, and that's the main thing that keeps showing up.
Yeah, I love regular hours.
Yeah,
it's good. Do you have a dream project you'd love to work on?
I've always wanted to do, like, I'm not ready for this now, but at some point in my career, I'd love to do a big retrospective at a museum or like an institutional space and have a lot of creative control or work with their creative team to do like an immersive installation experience with the artwork. So it's, I don't know if it's telling more of a story of my life rather than just hanging pictures on a wall. I think that'd be pretty fun to jump into.
Yeah, totally. Who are some of your favorite artists?
Howard Arkley is definitely up there. Darren Sylvester, who's an Australian artist, is a bit more contemporary, and yeah, I love his work. Who else? Ed Ruscha, Tom Wesselman, Richard Prince, Alex Israel. Who else have I got? Terrell Winston, American artist.
It's interesting. I love that question because I see your art, like there's lots. I can see all your inspiration coming through in your art. You know, in your own way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
but when you hear that list, it's like, oh, that makes sense. You know.
Yeah, I mean, you're obviously drawn to a certain aesthetic, I think. And the other part of those artists, I guess, is like, I like the aesthetic, but I also like their conceptual grounding in how they produce their work and what their work's about. So try and draw from those sort of like that methodology that they use to create work.
Yeah, totally. So, name one artist who you think deserves more shine.
Just one?
Oh, you can name multiples if you got them.
Yeah. Julius, the guy that I mentioned earlier, Julius Killaby, he's not only an incredible artist. I mean, he works in galleries. He worked in galleries as long as I've known him, but he's an incredible writer and videographer as well. So I think he definitely needs a bit of a shine. Rebecca Marshall, who's a girl that I showed here at Thought Forms, she's down in Elwood, really close friend, but she's an incredible artist as well, and she's finaled in a few major art prizes around Australia. And then Jack Flash, I know you know Jack. He's a friend I've known back since, God, I can't even remember back when we were painting, long time ago. And he's recently got into, not recently, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, got into sort of neon bending with proper glass neon, and he's absolutely killing it at the moment because it's a dying craft, and I'm always on his back whenever he comes to the studio to do electrical work for me. He needs to come and do a show here, so give him a little bit of a shine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm working on installation at the moment, and I've got to give him a call about it. Actually, got some lighting and electrical advice. Yeah, no, it's great seeing what he's doing these days. I love it.
Yeah.
Do you have any future plans or projects in the pipeline?
We've got a baby in 2 weeks. That's a pretty big project. Then I've got a big commission that I'm working on. Probably start loosely thinking about my next series, which I've got a few ideas. Just need to work out if I actually want to do like a big show, or I do like doing big shows. It's exciting to have like one continuous theme to talk about and explore. Just not sure if it's a good way to sell work. Then maybe try and do a couple of solo shows for other artists down at the Thought Form space. And then on top of that, outside of the art world, I've got a big run community that I started with my best mate. I don't even know if you know about it, but it's called All Ours. We started that back in COVID, and biggest run crew in Melbourne. We do 3 weekly runs, so we're just about to launch a membership with that, which is pretty exciting. I'm working with a lot of really like large global brands, so that's been really fun to sort of put together. And about to launch a kidswear brand with my wife for the kids.
Wow.
So plenty of things to keep me busy.
Yeah, definitely. You're not sitting around twiddling your thumbs.
No, I wish I did.
Well, is there anything new you're experimenting with or dreaming about?
Not at this stage. All the things that I'm working on, they're all the things that have been like pretty exciting to jump into. So I feel like I'm realizing a lot of my dreams at the moment.
Good stuff. And finally, where's the best place for people to find you online?
Probably Instagram is the most up to date. Website obviously is there, but you don't update those things that often. So if you want like what I'm doing day to day or whatever in the studio, then generally on the stories or Instagram posts is the best place to get me. Or when I get around to it, get onto the Collectors Club and sign up for those emails.
Is it just Tom Adair on Instagram?
Yeah, _ at the end.
Yeah. Cool. All right, Tom. Well, great to catch up. I feel like we just scratched the surface of everything you've been up to over the last few years. And also, I guess if I catch up with you in another couple of years, you're going to have way more to talk about because you've got so much going on. But congratulations on your latest show. Is that still up?
Yeah, that's up until the end of the month. So open Tuesday to Saturday, 10 till 4. So people are welcome to pop through the gallery or, just hit me up on Instagram, whatever, if you want to come and see it outside those hours or during those hours. And happy to meet people and show them through the studio. And that's what it's here for.
So that's Thought Forms Gallery. It's in Bridge Road in Richmond. And get down and check out Tom's latest body of work. It's really awesome. And it's like all artworks, it's always best to see them in the flesh. So get down there while it's all hung in all its glory.
Cool. Thanks, mate.
No worries. Pleasure.
Yeah, good to catch up.
Yep. All right. We're done.
Too easy.
Yeah, I'll stop that.